What's up, YouTube, and welcome to a product review video on a great accessory for those of you who like to play JAMMA arcade boards on original Japanese candy cab hardware. This is really a 3-in-1 device, and it's from a company called Jamma Nation X, and they've got their logo there in the corner. Great tool that one of my friends has and recommended to me, and I thought I'd take a moment and make a video about it. I don't think there's a whole lot on YouTube about this product. Really useful pass-through device for hooking up your arcade boards, and gives you some functionality that you wouldn't normally have with your standard arcade candy cab hardware. So if you look at the device itself, it actually has an input and an output. You will plug your standard JAMMA harness from the cabinet into this side of the device, and then you'll plug your arcade board into this side, so it all functions as a pass-through. This is one of the Jamma Nation X adapters that they provide. This is actually probably the most advanced in that it is the 3-in-1. However, if you don't need all these functions, they do offer separate devices that do some of the functionality of this one. So what is the 3 functions that this one does? Well, number 1, it has a voltmeter that will allow you to switch between 5 volt and 12 volt. And some of the arcade boards actually do require a 12 volt hookup. So it gives you a little more functionality than the standard 5 volt. Even beyond that, it will give you a readout on the LED screen here that will show you what the current connection is providing as far as voltage. So if you're getting a situation where you're running into some low voltage or high voltage, more so than it should be, you can at least get a real reading there of what you're currently getting to diagnose some problems. So very useful there. Another really neat function of the Spitfire, which this device is called, is it offers rapid fire, and you can think of this as 4 turbo switches, much like a TurboGrafx controller or PC Engine controller would have. There is 4 separate potentiometers here you can twist, and it is for player 1, button 1, player 1, button 2, and then these 2 are for player 2, button 1, and button 2. Very useful function. I'm looking forward to trying out here shortly on some of my older arcade shooters that did not function or did not feature a rapid fire button function in the game. So as you know, you can get a little tired just jamming on the button over and over and over. This can be a lazy man's way of playing those games. As you can see below the potentiometers, there is a switch on and off for each one of those. So really the number 1 reason I needed this device was actually to play one of my arcade boards I recently purchased called Heated Barrel, not to be confused with Heavy Barrel, the much more common arcade game. And what the problem was with that game is it is one of the few games that requires a -5 voltage line running to it to provide the sound to the game. There is a strange batch of arcade games that need that -5 voltage line, and the standard Astro City cabinets do not have that built into them through their JAMMA harness. So what this device also features on the backside is another board attached to it, which is called the Negatron, which is of course a fantastic name. And the Negatron is the piece that provides that -5 voltage line, which some of the games are required to play. So what I can tell you already is this device was worth the purchase because it instantly fixed the problem I was having with Heated Barrel, and now I know I'm good to go if I run into any other games that have that same issue and that they need a -5 voltage in order to run properly. So what I'd like to do is I'll show you just the instruction sheet that came with this. As you can see, JammaNationX.com, which is the website. There's the Spitfire, which there's a few other clever names that some of the other ones are called, if you want to check out some of their other products on there as well. And this instruction sheet just goes over some of the basics of what you need to do to flip the switches to do the different functions that this pass-through device offers. So what I thought I'd do here is pause for a moment. I'm going to give you a demonstration of Heated Barrel, first without the device hooked up, so you can see the issue I was having with the voltage messing up the game sound. Then I'll show you a demo of it with it turned on and plugged in, which completely fixes the sound issue. And if everything goes well, I'd actually like to test this out on one of my arcade shooters, and I think I'll hook one of those up to try out the rapid fire functions of the board. So if you pause or hold one moment here, let me make a transition, and I'll show you a couple demos with Heated Barrel. Alright, so here we have Heated Barrel, a game I've talked about in a couple other videos, and it is kind of like Gunsmoke but horizontally playing, so I don't know how well you can hear it. the sound is incredibly garbled due to not having that negative 5 volt hookup. So hopefully you can kind of tell what I'm talking about here, but it was very distracting playing the game with the sound all muddied like that, and very garbled and just not enjoyable. So pause for me one moment. I'm going to hook the Spitfire up and let you see the difference. Alright, so I'll give you a quick view here of what the Spitfire looks like hooked up. So here we have our standard JAMMA harness hooked through. Spitfire works as a pass-through and then connects directly to the heated barrel JAMMA board. Also, you can see the voltage readout that the game is currently receiving. So it's giving a little bit over 5 volts, but kind of nice to have that information as you're setting up for play. Let me transition to the game now, and I'll show you that once we coin in and start the game, the sound is perfect. So again, it just needs that negative 5 volt signal that the Negatron provides, and suddenly the game looks and plays correctly. So pretty neat piece of hardware already, definitely worth the money. And I would encourage you to talk to Jamma Nation X if you'd like one of these yourself. Again, this is not a paid advertisement by any means, but I'm very happy with the product and just wanted to pass the information along. And if you'll bear with me again for another cut, I'm going to plug in one of my arcade shooters and we'll see how it does with the rapid fire function. Alright, so now I'd like to give a demo of the rapid fire mode of the Spitfire on a great obscure arcade game called Air Raid. This is one of the early releases by Seibu Kaihatsu, and it was before their very popular Raiden series came out. Very much a, I hate this term, queued 'em up shooter that prior would kill my finger because you had to jam the button the whole time you wanted to fire. I have turned on rapid fire mode, and it probably won't make a whole lot of sense as far as how this is improved, but for me it is a massive difference. So I do want to give you a visual of this game because I don't think a lot of people have seen it, but I would be clicking the button the whole time that it's doing this right now with the rapid fire. So this is a huge help for a very colorful and very underrated early Seibu shooter. That was not good. I'd like to show you at least a little bit more of the game so you can see up to the first boss. This game is very cool. I don't think a lot of people have had a chance to play it. Looks very simplistic, but honestly, this game really ramps up the difficulty in some of the upper stages. I've never been able to beat it. I'm not even playing very well, as you can tell. But anyway, the Spitfire is a great device. I'm really happy I purchased it. I believe it ran about, I don't know, 65, 70 bucks with shipping. And for a custom-made, homemade device, I thought that was more than fair. The seller/business actually resides in Hawaii, and shipping came very quickly, even to the Midwest from there. So very happy with the purchase, and Jamma Nation X sells all kinds of other adapters and things like that too. A lot of things for Neo Geo, especially if you're into Neo Geo arcade gaming. But like I said, I'd really like to show you the first boss of this game because it is rather absurd. That's not it, of course. Oh, that was great. Use one of my bombs there. I'm probably going to regret it because they're not very plentiful in this game. I'm actually looking forward to trying this out with some of my other shooters. I know, like I said, a lot of the early, 80s generation arcade shooters did not have any kind of rapid fire function, and usually your regular shot was pretty limited, so just having the ability to turn on rapid fire just makes the gameplay a whole lot more comfortable. So as I said, I did want to show you this transition out of the first stage. I just think it's hilarious. Got this, whatever it is. And I believe, after that, we are now entering the next phase. It's been years since I played this game. Really one of the unusual gems I picked up in my arcade collection very early on when you used to be able to buy arcade boards on eBay very cheaply. That is no longer the case whatsoever. And it seemed like stuff like this would pop up. I wouldn't even necessarily know what it is. I would just know the developer and know it was a shooter and know that I wanted it. And you could buy stuff like this for like 30, 40 bucks all day long. I'm still not getting to the part I want to show you, so if you're getting bored, feel free to tune out. Anyway, I think that's it for that life. So, like I said, short review of the Jamma Nation X Spitfire adapter, and also a view of heated barrel now with working sound, and also wanted to show Air Raid, the early Seibu Kaihatsu shooter. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.